Hi, we're here to do shadow work. So one of the biggest questions that I get asked is how to do it. What is it? How do I start? How do I know what to work on? And honestly, the basic answer is you want to ask yourself, what repeating patterns am I sick of? What triggers me down to the bone, right? So every single issue that we have has its roots in childhood. Now, that doesn't mean that we all had abusive backgrounds, right? But rather that we have these mindsets, these perspectives, these belief systems that are sometimes passed down through generational trauma. Other times it's just something that we observe and we take in and we just believe that for the rest of our lives unless we do something, right? So shadow work is the process of releasing those. Releasing things that no longer serve and are honestly holding us back from living our best life possible. It allows us to move forward and to stop repeating useless cycles. So with that in mind, let's get to work. This month over in Soul Mastery Group, we are tackling a big one. We are tackling the shadow of being unchosen. There is a plethora of ways that this shadow will show up. So I'm just going to run through some different examples that you might be able to identify with. It could be that you were the chosen golden child growing up until that new baby came in. And ever since then, you've always struggled with this feeling of being replaced. This could manifest as you have this core group of friends, and then inevitably some new friend comes in, and all of a sudden you're not being invited out anymore. No one's keeping you in the loop. You kind of get squeezed out of this friend group because the new fancy friend is here. You've been replaced or looked over at work for things like promotions, the exciting projects, etc. This could have manifested that you grew up thinking that you were the ugly sibling. Or you're carrying that firstborn daughter wound. Sisters, let me hear it. That wound can look like everyone in your life expecting you to mother them, not just your family. You might tend to attract people who expect you to mother them. Your partners come and go when most of your friends or your family members, they find their one person and they're in that relationship for the rest of their lives. But for you, you can't seem to find the one that sticks. And now it might even be to the point where you get into a new relationship and in the back of your mind, you expect that person to leave. If you start a new project, like losing weight or trying to better yourself in some way, or you start a new business, you get that initial burst of success and then you start getting nervous, wondering when that success is going to end. So this childhood issue of being unchosen will manifest in adulthood as feeling like we're temporary. This can lead to becoming codependent in relationships. Feeling like I better hold on to this relationship for as long as possible because it's really going to hurt when it ends, when I'm alone again. You can end up blaming yourself for the endings, which leads to self-abandonment, i.e., this person doesn't want me, so I don't want me either. So a lifetime of these mindsets and experiences will eventually lead to the belief that something you want isn't for you. It's not in the stars, right? Whether that's being financially stable, incredibly abundant, having that long-term relationship, becoming a parent, just being successful, healthy, and happy. Fill in the blank. What are you closing yourself off from because you don't think it's accessible? So while being in a connection with someone and that person starts to pull away, you'll end up having this really desperate need to prove yourself, your worth. So you start over giving. You buy them things you can't afford. You clean the house and cook all the meals and do everything for them, desperately hoping that they'll see you as worthy of sticking around for. Now, because this is a shadow work session, we're going to discuss something that's probably going to make you feel extremely uncomfortable. And I already know I'm going to get really defensive comments about this. But they're included in this shadow you could find that you have an addiction to victimizing yourself. And I think most of us have that because it's attention. In other words, somebody breaks up with you and you're telling your friends and your family about the breakup for supportive attention, right? And there is a small part, I think, of most of us that gain something from that unadulterated attention that we never got as children. But the problem with that is, if we're addicted to something bad happening to us so that we can then get attention from people, we're always silently, secretly in the back of our mind, not necessarily going to be hoping for endings, but it provides a level of comfort which makes us less afraid to change our behavior systems so that we can actually have something that sticks around. This can also manifest as becoming addicted to cycles. Feeling calm and at peace in our own energy might not just feel painful, but it also might feel like a form of punishment and feel unbearable just to be alone. We could feel consumed by these emotions of abandonment and loneliness, which means that even if somebody isn't right for us or they treat us badly, we're so desperate to have that attention or to have that love from someone else, we can't bear to be in our own energy. And the last point that I'm going to make about these is something that I found really resonated with me to my core. When we meet someone who promises us the world, okay, so you take a codependent empath and a narcissist, for example. They promise you everything you've ever wanted, right? They profess their love, and we feel like we've finally found someone who is going to avenge our failures of the past. This feeling of, it's my turn. It's my turn to be loved, and I'll show everybody. And, that feeling of like vindication, right? I am finally chosen. And then when the relationship ends, it all comes crashing down. So not only have you lost the person, you've lost the dream. And you've also lost your identity and your sense of worth, because this was supposed to be the thing that avenges you. So in a nutshell, how do we start ending these highs and lows and instead start allowing a really steady flow of abundance, love, and success? How do we stop being terrified of being left behind in any circumstance? How do we reclaim our power? And the basic answer lies within your relationship to your inner child, your inner teenager, your inner preteen. Typically from the ages of 5 to 20, those are our shadow making years. So when you first come into shadow work, you likely have about 15 years of sludge that needs to be dealt with and removed. 15 years of mindsets, belief systems, and negative thinking that we play in loops in our brain. So for the first time, for some of you, you may be learning how to really comfort and nurture yourself in a healthy way. A lot of the healing with this has to do with understanding and integrating that your worst fears have already happened. And it's time to let these fears go because they no longer serve. So think of this shadow as your childhood artwork. Those pieces were important at the time. They were probably a coping mechanism for some of us who found pleasure and comfort in making art. But now it's just in a box in the corner of the closet, and you really need that space for the stuff that's occupying your life now. We have better uses for that area, and that childhood artwork isn't doing anybody any good, so let's chuck it. So, for the next month in the Soul Mastery group, we're going to be breaking down the shadow into manageable, bite-sized pieces. If you're interested in coming on this journey with us, the link will be in the bio or below in the description for your convenience, so you can come over and join us. But I want to leave you with this, and it's something that I used to say a long time ago. Remember to take that inner child by the hand, remind them that you are in control now, I am the table. I hold the line. I've got your back, and the universe has mine. Love you.